I don't have anything tonight. I'll ask the city manager if she has anything.
Just one thing, I want to tell the council that we'll be holding a pre-council meeting at the next meeting to get an update on the bridge project.
What time will that be?
I think it'll be at 5:30.
Okay, thank you. Roll call?
Mayor Peterson.
Here.
Councilman Thurley.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Alexander. Here. Iden. Here. Borzakowski.
Here.
Double.
Here.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is the sign and banner schedule for the first half of 2016. Move approval.
Second.
Motion by Michelle and seconded by Jerry. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.2 is an application for liquor licenses for Ocean Sushi, effective dates March 1st through June 30th. Mr. Wee Chen called today to say he was not able to make the meeting.
Move to approve.
Second that.
Motion by Jerry,
Seconded by everyone.
seconded by Michelle. She beat you by just
A lot of sushi
nose.
folks here.
And any discussion?
Yeah, so I think we're all saying yes quickly because we're delighted there's a restaurant moving in.
Good. And a sushi restaurant at that.
All right. Any further discussion or comments? Hearing none. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.3 is a request by Winona Health to close Parks Avenue for the Scrubs Camp on Thursday, June 30th. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Michelle and seconded by Jerry. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.4 is a request for St. Martin's Strawberry Festival in Sinclair Park on Sunday, June 12th. So moved.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by Pam, I think. Any discussion? I think it was a tie. Pam's been trying hard over
Okay.
there.
White shirts on.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 3.5 is the annexation request by the Darce at 1401 Foxcroft Place. Please.
I would move to approve the annexation of the Darce property.
Second.
Motion by George, seconded by Michelle. Any discussion? Or Al?
If I might ask our city attorney just to explain this process, since we are now beyond the orderly annexation process we had for things like this previously. I think that would be helpful.
Mayor and Council, that's correct, we don't have a long-term orderly annexation agreement anymore with a designated orderly annexation area. The process is somewhat similar to what you've done. We do an orderly annexation agreement with the township. It really is just for this single annexation, so there aren't any terms or conditions that need to be made. Or met, we just have to meet the statutory requirements for orderly annexation. So as long as the township is in agreement with this, then it can be a smooth process.
So previously, the township basically gave a blanket approval with the process in place, and now it's on the township to approve separately.
Individually, yes, that's correct.
So what happens given that they have a sewer issue, a septic issue that's actually failing, and the township says no?
Well, that's not a particularly good outcome.
Yes, that's where I'm coming from.
I'm stating the obvious, of course, but what we would end up having to do would be to go through an ordinance process. In order to do an ordinance process, the property would have to abut city limits at least a single point, which it would in this case. So I mean, we could still correct it. It seemed like the most efficient thing to do was just do it this way, and because there's some notice and public hearing requirements with the ordinance process. It generally takes about 120 days to complete it. So this just was more efficient. Again, assuming the township will go along.
And we're dealing with a failed septic system right now too.
Does the township have a certain number of days in which they have to make a decision?
No, there's no requirement. Obviously, there's some urgency here for them to act on it. And my understanding is they are acting on it either this week or early next week, I think.
George?
And according to our agenda item, it's already stubbed to the property line to sewer and water, so there would be no excavation in the street or anything, would just be on their property, so.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If there aren't, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Under unfinished business, item 4.1 is a request for a four-way stop sign ordinance at Broadway and Viola.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
I'd second that.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Pam, something we've been dealing now with for 3 meetings or 4th meeting. Is there anything new or any other discussion? We ready to vote? Al?
I just would like to say that I continue to receive constituent calls on this, and right now they are basically 50-50 as far as what people are telling me to do as far as voting for or against it. And again, I'm going to reiterate what I had said earlier about putting in a stop sign every time there's an accident or an issue that is a perceived issue. I think this particular accident in this case was more of a catalyst than it was, you know, a single issue. I understand that. But I still think that we need to carefully plan where we do put these traffic devices and have to look carefully at the traffic counts in this one, although it comes close in some areas, doesn't really come close enough to warrant the installation of a light. I'd also like to say that if this does pass, I don't know if I can do this procedurally, but I would like to offer an amendment if the vote passes. Mayor, if I may have the floor back to offer an amendment? Or I can offer an amendment probably. Yeah, well, let me make amendment now as we go through this process here. I would like to amend this to include the removal of 1 parking stall on South Broadway east of Viola. I think there are parking stalls removed on all 3 legs of that intersection in the interest of greater visibility for traffic. I think that this would only improve that, which I would think initially is all we needed to do, but I understand the reason for moving forward with the 4-way stop. But even with the 4-way stop, removing that parking space would be an additional safety issue for drivers. That's my amendment.
Jerry, would you accept that as a part of your original motion?
Absolutely, but I think it's moot, isn't it?
It happens anyway, I think.
But I see what that Councilman Thurley's coming from, but doesn't that already take place with putting in a stop sign?
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, we're on second reading of this ordinance, which means we actually need to have language to adopt the change. I mean, we need something specific in this document. I mean, the only thing that I could suggest would be to direct staff to come back with another ordinance to deal with this.
Yeah, and I would withdraw the amendment so that the vote can proceed on the second reading.
Okay. Further discussion? George?
Yeah, just a question here. I do support this. The stop sign they were talking about, is that going to be a regular one or a lighted one? And what is the cost, if you know, Keith, of a flashing stop sign, lighted stop sign, whatever? If you know those numbers offhand.
I do not know the answers for the cost of that. I don't believe it was going to be a flashing one.
Okay.
Is that something? Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm okay with that, so I just wanted to know some information on those, so.
Anything else? All right, we'll vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
It was 5-2. Carries.
And moving on to new business, item 5.1 is the fire department purchase of a support vehicle from either Sugarloaf Ford or Nelson Auto Center. And Chief is here.
I would make a motion to accept the bid of Sugarloaf Ford for $30,808.18 for this vehicle.
I'll second that.
Motion by Al, seconded by Jerry. Discussion?
Just an explanation that, you know,
Chief,
this is
do you
not
wanna-
that much different than the state bid, and I think it's nice that we can do business locally with a local company.
I agree. George?
Chief, what will we be mainly using this for?
I'm sorry, Councilman, I didn't.
What will we be mainly using this vehicle for?
This vehicle, currently we have a fire inspector car, and the chief and the assistant chief both have take-home cars. So this is gonna replace the 1999 fire inspector car that we're currently having problems with the frame. And that, I believe, is gonna get scrapped, that vehicle. So this will be a replacement for that vehicle.
Thank you.
Anything else? Not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Item 5.2, the Theater du Mississippi lease agreement for use of the Masonic Temple is a lease for 1 year.
I'd make a motion to enter into the lease agreement with Theater of Mississippi.
Second.
Second.
Motion by,
I would third it, actually.
motion by Michelle, seconded by Paul, third by Pam. Ordering the mayor, I think.
I didn't order this time, I just directed staff.
Any discussion about this? I have a question, I guess, Chad. Is previous agreements, have they been for 1 year, or how long have they been for?
Mayor and council, the original agreement with TDM was for 1 year.
Okay.
The two successive agreements were for 2 years, and now we've moved it back to 1 year. Primary reason being the roof project that's going to take place in 2016, pending bids and approval. We'd like to keep it to just a 1 year term this time.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries.
Item 5.3 is a temporary work easement at the East End Boat Harbor for the Army Corps of Engineers.
I'd move approval of the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, and seconded by Paul. Discussion? George?
I know we talked before, Keith, a few times on this, and I know that's a little bit, it could be connected, could not be, but, you know, dredging needs to be done in the inside of the East End Boat Harbor. So is there any possible way that any of this could get worked in with dredging that out? Or, because I know the entrance to it is beginning to fill as well, too.
Mayor and council, all I can do at this point is I will definitely talk to them about it again. I don't know if exactly the area they're dredging, but they're gonna be dredging in parts of the river, but I'll talk to them, see if they can go into that area.
And then let us know what you find out, so, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Item 5.4 is the City of Winona Professional Employees Association 2016 wages and benefits.
I move approval of the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, seconded by George. Discussion?
I just have a question of our city manager, that this is consistent with the labor and salary structures that we had talked about in previous meetings with council.
Yes, this fits into the base pay structure that you approved, yes.
Yep, thank you.
Hearing nothing else, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And item 5.5 is the employment agreement for new city manager.
Move to approve the agreement and to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute same.
Second.
Motion by Jerry, I think I heard Paul. I know we weren't all in agreement on Friday on the hiring of Mr. Sarvey, but I would hope that we could all have a unanimous vote here tonight to approve this agreement. Anybody else have anything? If not, we'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Unanimous.
And item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Paul.
I'll pass.
We'll go to Pam.
I've had several constituents in the last few months call me or contact me regarding the crosswalk painting and the curb painting, the yellow striping and the black and the white striping, asking how often do we replace this, or how often do we renew the crosswalk? That some of these areas are becoming very hard to see. And simultaneously, the pedestrian safety group is talking about some of the recommendations that were made by Stantec. So I just wonder, I'd like to know something about the timing of this. How often are the crosswalks repainted?
Mayor and Council, typically that is annually. There are a few that may happen more often than that, but it doesn't happen until late spring. We obviously can't do it this time of year.
Right, okay, so late spring. Thank you.
George?
The lights on Broadway, the new lights in the intersection, they're wonderful. I know just driving up here again tonight, you can just see it really lights up the corners, lights up the intersections, and I certainly hope that we can do more of those into the future, which I'm certain that we will do, but it really, really does make a difference. Last week at the Winona HRA, Housing and Redevelopment Authority Board meeting, James Kirk was re-elected as vice chairman, and I was re-elected again as chairman. So James and James was re-elected as well too, so we'll be serving as the officers of the Winona Housing Association, well, the Winona Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And I'm sure a lot of us today know of all the activities that happened and the thoughts from the public here to everyone involved in the Highway 61 mishap today. We're certainly we'll be thinking of all those people, as there's no names known yet, but as they are unveiled, our thoughts are certainly with all them. And also, I'd like to offer condolences to the Nancy Cushionette family. Nancy, who passed away late last week, more known as the manager and owner of the Hot Fish Shop, spent many years out there, working the business with her father and on her own, and a very, very strong business lady. And to her family, to her sons Kurt, Derek, Rick, and her daughter Carrie, condolences to them, and they can be very, very proud of their mother. Thank you.
Michelle?
Nothing to
Gary?
Nothing this evening.
I know.
I concur with Councilperson Borzakowski on Nancy as passing. Back when I was CVB director, if I ever had visiting press from anybody or any place, any organization, even from Japan, she was more than generous with her assistance in showing that press person Winona's finest dining place. So I appreciated that very much. I also want to thank the Citizen Committee, the members who had their time last week interviewing our candidates for manager, and appreciate what they did in their use of time and contributing to a successful decision. And just a reminder that snow is coming apparently tomorrow, so school's out. So not only will you drive carefully in town, watch out for the people who will be enjoying the snow without having time spent in the classroom. That's all I have.
Under the consent agenda, there are 3 items: approval of the minutes from January 19th, the final adoption of an ordinance to amend the property maintenance code, and a final adoption of an ordinance to update the building permit fees.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Al, seconded by Michelle. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say
Well,
aye.
maybe we could
Aye.
discuss
Aye.
it for a while.
Too late, we're adjourned.
Wow, Monica, that's great.
Oh, I think.
If only there was a pump.
Mayor, what is the record? Quarter 2, wasn't it?
Or would I get a quarter?
Oh, I don't know.
13 minutes under Mayor Slager.
Well,
What was on the agenda?
No doubt.
I don't know.